The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers now. We are live, and look, I don't normally go live on Sundays. This is not my thing to go live on Sundays, but we're going live on Sunday because y'all got me fired up today. Y'all got me inspired. People in the boxing community had me ready to talk some boxing today. So that's what we're gonna do, because I stayed awake, late into the night here on the East Coast. I stayed awake to watch the Olympics. I stayed awake to watch Keyshawn Davis in his fight with Andy Cruz in the gold medal match. I stayed awake to watch Richard Torres Jr.'s fight with Jalolov in the heavyweight division, the super heavyweight division, and they both came up short. They both lost, and they both were awarded a silver medal. And I have to establish that they were awarded a silver medal, because you can't win a silver medal; you are awarded a silver medal. With that being said, look. I appreciate the U.S. boxing team. I appreciate them for their efforts. It was one of the best Olympics we've had in terms of medals in a long, long time. But the reality is this. This is the reality. It's good to medal, and it's good to be doing better in the Olympics. But for the USA to, by the time the next Olympics starts, the gold medal drought will be 22 years. 22 years with no gold medal. For the USA to go 2 decades plus with no gold medal in the Olympics is not good. It's not good for the program. It's not good for professional boxing in this country. People don't understand the value of a gold medal and what it could do for a fighter, because the reality is, in the social media era, there's never been an American fighter in the entire social media era to win a gold medal. We had Shakur Stevenson, who everybody swore up and down was going to win the gold medal. He fell short to Robeisy Ramirez. You had Keyshawn Davis, who fell as well to Andy Cruz, who he's also lost to like three other times in the amateurs, in the world championships, and in other various tournaments. So in this live, like, I'm gonna address some things that I said on social media, because I was very spirited. I had pretty much said that, as Americans, as people that are Americans, we shouldn't be celebrating winning silver medals. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. It's a good accomplishment. Respect to the boxers for working their asses off and getting to that point. But when we talk about the USA Olympic boxing, we're talking about a lineage of great fighters. You can see in the ticker down there, but right down below, some of the great names that have won gold medals for America. You got names like Oscar De La Hoya, Andre Ward, Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, Howard Davis Jr., Sugar Ray Leonard, and the list goes on and on and on. And that those were times where America would actually win gold medals, but we haven't won in so long, and we've been so bad in the Olympics for boxing for so long that when you say, "Hey, we shouldn't be celebrating second place," people think I'm disrespecting the fighters, and I'm not. I think Duke Reagan is a fantastic fighter. He'll go on to have a professional career. I think Richard Torres will be good in the professional ranks. I think the world of Keyshawn Davis, but let's look at the big picture, all right? Let's look at the big picture of what getting a gold medal does for fighters, for their careers, and for more importantly, and most importantly, the health in boxing in America. These things are important. Now, I'm gonna get into it here in a second, but let me just acknowledge a couple of these comments, because I do see some comments. Shout out to everybody here. Um, what's up? What's up, Jesus? Good to see you. What's up, champ? And yeah. So yeah, man, like, I'm gonna take some time to just camp out on some things I said on social media, because I had a lot of people on Facebook and Instagram messaging me this morning. They were very upset because I pretty much said that, what the hell are we congratulating the Olympians for? We didn't win any gold medals. Like, you can take that how you want, but Bulgaria won a gold medal. But Bulgaria has won more gold medals in the Olympics than the USA. And if you can't see anything wrong with that, and you think I'm in the wrong, then you're the issue. You're part of the problem. You're part of the reason why, like, right now in boxing, right now, particularly in America, let's just be real. Let's call it for what it is. In America, we are struggling to produce superstars, and the main reason we're struggling to produce these superstar fighters like we did in the past is because they don't win in the Olympics. They don't win in the Olympics. Back in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, fighters like Sugar Ray Leonard and fighters like Joe Frazier and George Foreman and Oscar De La Hoya, and even Andre Ward to an extent, these fighters would win gold medals, and it would put them on the fast track. It would gain them fans, because there comes a lot of weight when you win that gold medal. And unfortunately, we live in a generation of instant gratification. We live in a generation where a lot of American fighters they don't value fighting in the amateurs. Perfect example I can give you. The perfect example I can give you of an American fighter who really had everything made to order for him, in the Olympics. Should he have actually competed and represented Team USA? Was Devin Haney. Devin Haney. Devin Haney could have all Devin Haney had to do was literally just wait a year and a half, 2 years to compete in the Olympics. Because when he was gonna compete in Rio in 2016, um when he was gonna compete in Rio in 2016, Devin they changed the rules that you have to be 19 years old to compete in the Olympics. They removed the headgear, so he decided to go pro. And in the 2 years that he was going pro, building his record up, he decided to go to Mexico and pad his record up. When if he would have just waited those 2 years, fought in the Olympics, and won the gold medal like everybody thought he wouldn't be in the position he's in. He wouldn't even be in the position he's in right now in his career. Devin Haney's on social media every day complaining, whining about how this guy don't want to fight him, that guy's ducking him, that guy's avoiding him. But I'll tell you this: if he had a gold medal, and if he had that in his back pocket for marketing and leveraging opportunities, he wouldn't be struggling to get big fights. You can say what you want about Andre Ward, and listen. I've had plenty to say about Andre Ward over the years, but the reason that Andre Ward, despite the fact that he wasn't a big puncher, wasn't a massive ticket seller, was able to get negotiations and in many cases preferential treatment in America, was because he won a gold medal. And Keyshawn Davis, great fighter, fantastic talent. He stated that when they announced the decision when he lost to Andy Cruz, he said, "Oh, we're on to bigger and better things, right?" And that attitude is that attitude is the problem. That attitude is the problem with USA Olympic boxing, like because the reality is every Olympics that an American doesn't win a gold medal, every Olympics that an American doesn't win a gold medal, whoever does break through and wins a gold medal is going to be a massive superstar. And I don't think that the people are quite understanding, So shout out to Keyshawn Davis. Shout out to Richard Torres Jr. Shout out to Duke Reagan Jr. They all lost in the gold medal matches. They were awarded a silver medal because you can't win a silver medal. You're awarded a silver medal. Now, we look at boxing right now, right? Let's just be real. America is struggling to produce superstars, and the thing is, the thing that people fail to realize is that because America isn't producing superstars in the Olympics, they gotta create them in the pros. They gotta manufacture them. So certain fighters, they get in close fights. The guy from another country gets robbed. It's a bad decision. People complain about corruption, right? You know, they complain about corruption. They complain about all these different things. But what they're failing to realize is the value that a gold medal would carry. Because, like, look, back in the day when Sugar Ray Leonard was winning gold medals and Howard Davis Jr. and George Foreman, these guys had a fast track to stardom in the pros, and that's just not happening these days. So now, you got to build fighters through social media. You got to build them through bad decisions, selective matchmaking, things like that. And people don't see the large picture. They just see, oh, well, BT's hating on the American fighters. When in actuality, no, I just want what's best for the damn country, and I want the American fighters to do better. But like, the first thing that happens is corruption. There's been more corruption in boxing these last 15 years than ever before. So bad decisions because they got to create stars in the professional ranks because they're not creating them in the Olympics. That's number one. Number two, what was my next point? What was my next point? Fans are being starved out of the best fights. I mean, think about all the best fights that involve an American fighter somewhere in the matchup that aren't happening right now. Like I'll name you a couple. You got Terrence Crawford, Earl Spence. You got Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia. You got Demetrius Andrade versus Jamal Charlo. These are all fights that I'm sure people want to see, that people would be excited to watch, but they're not happening. Obviously because of politics, but I can tell you this. If any one of these six fighters that I named was a gold medalist, if any of them had that gold medal in their back pocket, they would have more room at the negotiating table. Now, obviously, you still gotta perform in the pros, and you still gotta be great, and you still gotta win fights, and you still gotta look as spectacular as you possibly can. But at the same time, if you had that gold medal, it's a big feather in your cap, and I just like I don't understand why people get off not seeing the bigger picture. A lot of people I see they complain about like a lot of people complain about Ryan Garcia. They say, oh, well, Ryan Garcia hasn't beat nobody. They're just creating a social media hype job. Same thing with Devin Haney. Same thing with Jamal Charlo. You know, even though I like him, people say Demetrius Andrade is being protected, which I don't agree with, but he's being protected. People say that that Terrence Carver hasn't fought nobody. A lot of promoters are scared to put American fighters in big fights because they don't want them to lose. Because if they lose that, they lose the value they bring to the table. But the best way you could supplement that before it got to this point is if these fighters went to the Olympics and won gold medals. And I don't think people are seeing that. People are just seeing, oh, well, True School and BT, he's just hating on the American fighters. No, absolutely not. I stayed up till 2 or 3 in the morning watching Richard Torres Jr. I was rooting for him. When he hit Jalal with the overhand left hand, I was excited about that. Same thing goes for like Keyshawn Davis. You know, I thought he did enough to win, but unfortunately, he's fighting a guy in Andy Cruz who has mastered the art of winning amateur boxing matches. You know, and he didn't do enough. He left too much room for interpretation for them to give him that fight. So he's in the wrong because for years upon years, before I even knew who Keyshawn Davis was, I used to hear his name through boxing circles, and they were saying that this kid was going to win the gold medal, much like they said about Shakur Stevenson before he failed to win the gold medal. So I'm just saying, man, the American boxing program has a long way to go. It's cool that they were awarded a couple silver medals and a bronze medal. You know, it's better than we've done in a while, but that's precisely the problem. That's the problem. The fact that people are saying, well, I shouldn't be hating on and I'm not hating, by the way. I'm not hating. I'm just saying we shouldn't be going crazy over us being awarded a silver medal. We should only really celebrate the gold because after all, this is the USA. This is, you know, one of the most tradition-rich countries for boxing, and the fact that you got Bulgaria winning gold medals, and the USA wins gold medals in every other sport. We win gold medals in basketball, we win gold medals in track and field, all kinds of sports, and we're held to higher standards in these sports. But when you put these standards on the American Olympian boxers, apparently it's a crime. I'll use an example, right? I've been using this example all day. If Team USA, the basketball team, if USA basketball, if they went to the Olympics and they had a drought of over 20 years plus, okay, if they had a drought of 20 years plus without winning a gold medal, people would say they're trash and the credibility of the NBA would be questioned, okay? Same thing with Michael Phelps when he was winning all those gold medals in swimming and whatnot. If Michael Phelps didn't win all those gold medals in swimming, people would question how great Michael Phelps was. But the reason that the USA basketball team is held in such high regard, the reason that the that Michael Phelps is held in such high regard, even like from another country in another sport, Usain Bolt, the reason all these people are held in such high regard isn't because they won a silver medal, and the damn shame because they won a bronze. It's because they won the gold, and people are failing to understand the value of what a gold medal can do for a fighter's career. I hear fighters, right? I hear fighters sometimes say, "Oh, well, I'm not going to compete in the amateurs. I'm not going to go to the Olympics because, I'm going to go on to bigger and better things in the pro and make this money." No, absolutely not. If you have the talent to make the USA Olympic team, which is very hard, by the way, so I'm not going to demean that accomplishment, but I'm saying if you have the talent to make the USA Olympic team and you make the Olympic team and you get to the gold medal match and you win the gold medal match, you're going to be set up for some big things in the pros. It sets you up to have a more successful professional career. It doesn't guarantee success, but it sets a better foundation, and fighters aren't seeing that. Devin Haney, all he had to do was wait a year and a half, 2 years. He would have won that gold medal, all right? He could have won that gold medal. He had all the amateur experience in the world. He could have been fast-tracked to the world title, but no, he fought cupcake opponents in Mexico for those 2 years, didn't do anything really, and he still can't get a big fight. So really, he wasted a bunch of time. But hold on, I don't want to just ramble. I mean, I have a lot I want to say, but I want to make sure I get to everybody's comments. Jesus says other countries are getting better at every sport little by little. Yeah, they are. I'm not taking away anything from the other countries or anything like that, but I'm just speaking about America. Obviously there isn't the same amount of investment or infrastructure in the USA boxing program as there was in the 80s or the 90s and the 70s. And I get that, but let's just use our brains here for a second. When we look at a lot of the best fighters in boxing, like from other countries, right? Like your Usyks and your Furies and Canelo. Where do they all have to move to get the best quality sparring? They got to move to America, which would insinuate that the best fighters and the best work and the best gym work is in America. So why is that not translating to the Olympics? There's a lot of theories about that, but it's my belief and my deep conviction that you know it just doesn't. I could be wrong. I'm sure it does mean a lot to some of these Olympians, but from my vantage point, from what I can see, I don't think being a U.S. Olympian means the same to American fighters as it does to the Cubans, to the Uzbekistans, or the other countries that are medaling. Because if it did, I don't feel like America would have this long of a drought. You know, I really believe, and I know from talking to fighters personally when they talk about being a U.S. Olympian, it's not something that they want to do just so they can represent their country. No, it's something that they want to do because it's just something to put on their resume. You could say you were a U.S. Olympian and it sounds good, but I don't think it really burns deep in their heart to win a gold medal the same way it did for Andre Ward, the same way it did for even like a Claressa Shields. And I said when I was on social media, I said, look, the only people that really should be celebrated in uh, American Olympic boxing is Andre Ward and Claressa Shields. If we're not talking about Andre Ward, Claressa Shields, then we're not talking about anything because nobody else in recent memory has won a gold medal. All right, they haven't won a gold medal. Anybody else who boxed the USA Olympic team, aside from Andre Ward and aside from Claressa Shields, they may have boxed well. They deserve some credit, but truthfully, they just participated, and that includes one of my favorite fighters, Demetrius Andrade. As great as he was, and as controversial as his fight was, he didn't win a gold medal. He didn't win a medal, period. So he just participated as well. And I can tell you this: Demetrius Andrade, hell of a fighter. Love to watch him fight. I think the world of him. But I can tell you this: if Demetrius Andrade was, if he had a gold medal in his pocket, right? Let's just say in the 2008 Olympics, if Demetrius Andrade would have won a gold medal, I can almost guarantee you these negotiations and these breakdowns and how he can't get fights, how he can't get those big fights to take him to the next level in his career, that wouldn't be happening if Demetrius Andrade had a gold medal, because Andre Ward was a guy that was much similar. He was very similar to Demetrius Andrade. He didn't have a great style that casual fans loved, and he wasn't necessarily the most outspoken guy either. But what he had was a gold medal, and that allowed him to get the fights that he needed to get to make a great career for himself. And look, people can say that Andre Ward wasn't a superstar, but guess what? That gold medal gave him enough leverage to get the fights that he needed to make the money to make him retire early, and he got the sport with his faculties in check, and he's enjoying it with his family. So you get to me, Andre Ward is a winner too, straight up, man, straight up. Says, what are your plans this weekend? My plans this weekend? I mean, the weekend's almost over. I'm just relaxing and waiting for the new week to come. How was Pops? Pops is good. Pops is good. Have you seen the racist tweets of that bitch who judged the Michael Fox grab? No, I haven't. But that's another disgrace in itself. That's another lie within itself. The Michael Fox fight. They really robbed the hell out of Michael Fox. But yeah, like, people aren't seeing the bigger picture. They really aren't seeing the bigger picture with how a gold medal would really help a lot of these careers, like in boxing. America is failing to create stars because of the fact that there's not gold medalists. There's no gold medalists coming from America anymore. So because of that, they have to manufacture them. A lot of you guys complain about Gervonta Davis and him cherry picking these smaller guys and moving them up weight classes. He wouldn't have to do none of that if he had a gold medal. He wouldn't. I mean, let's just think, right? You got Claressa Shields, you got Vasily Lomachenko, two fighters who, let's ask this question: if Lomachenko didn't have any gold medals and Claressa Shields didn't have any gold medals, would their value in boxing be the same? Would they be the same? And I think if we're being honest, if we're being 100% completely objective and honest, the answer is a resounding no. No way in hell. No way, no how would Claressa Shields or Lomachenko have the same value they do in boxing. But they have their value, and they have their hype, and they have the recognition, largely in part due to the mystique and the prestige that comes with winning a gold medal. Now, you can say Lomachenko's overrated in the pros. That's fine. You can say Claressa Shields isn't that great in the pros. That's fine. But you cannot argue the fact that if they were not gold medalists, right? If they were not gold medalists, or if they didn't have those gold medals, their value wouldn't be the same. They have their value in boxing, and they have the hype, and they have the attention that they receive in boxing, largely in part due to those gold medals. So let's get that right. And then everybody's talking about, oh well, winning a silver medal is a great accomplishment, and I think it is a great accomplishment, especially if you can make Team USA. Making Team USA is a big accomplishment, but let's not act like it's the same thing. Let's not act like it's created equal. Let's not act like, you know, let's not demean the value of a gold medal. I really think it's getting to a point with American boxing, in the USA boxing, where we have fallen so far, the standards have dropped so little, that we have actually forgotten the value of an Olympic gold medal for an American fighter, because it's been so long. It's been 17 years. It'll be 22 by the next Olympics. Um, and it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate that people aren't seeing it. But if you like corruption, if you like guys cherry picking and guys ducking, then you have the USA Olympic team over the last 5, 6, 7 Olympics underperforming to thank for this, because it's going to continue. It's going to continue. A lot of people say, "Oh, BT, this is one of the best Olympic teams we had in a while, right?" And they're saying that I should be gassed because we won silver medals. Now, it's great that the USA is medaling again. It's good that we're getting to the point again where we can at least get multiple fighters to medal in the Olympics, but like, it's not a gold. Like, it's not a gold medal. And if we're not talking about a gold medal, we're not really talking about much, you know. And the reason I feel so strongly about things like this, it's just because of stories that I hear from some fighters. Like, I'll give you an example. I won't just talk out of my ass. I will give you an example, right? You got Chris Bird. Chris Bird, was one of the most talented amateurs from this country. Chris Bird was in my opinion, one of the most talented fighters of his era. To do what he did, being as small as he was in the heavyweight division, fighting the style he was fighting was an amazing feat, and he deserves all the flowers for an exceptional professional career. But Chris Bird represented the USA in the 1992 Olympics and in Barcelona, and he won a silver medal, just like Duke Reagan has won a silver medal, just like Keyshawn Davis has won a silver medal, just like Richard Torres Jr. has won a silver medal. But the difference was, number one, he wasn't a professional yet. He was fighting in the Olympics first before he became professionals, because back then professionals couldn't be in the Olympics. But I bring Chris Bird up to use him as a cautionary tale of us not valuing a gold medal, because this is a guy that I can guarantee you, if he won a gold medal, the narrative on his career early on and as it progressed would have been a lot different. Now, Chris Bird won a silver medal at middleweight in 1992 in Barcelona. Okay. And I've interviewed him. The interviews are on this channel. You can go watch the interviews. All right. They've been out for years. They're there. Chris Bird told me the story about when he won the silver medal, about how basically none of the big promoters would sign him. None of the big promoters would sign him. And they wanted to sign the heavyweights instead, and it got so bad for Chris Bird, and he won a silver. Keep in mind, this is a guy who won a silver medal. It got so bad for Chris Bird that he actually signed with an independent boxing promoter, like in Flint, Michigan, and he didn't even get paid his first 2 professional fights. And this was a guy that won a silver medal for this country, right? First, and then when he started making money, he was making peanuts. He went from making $600 a fight his first couple of fights. Then when he finally fought I've got a guy in his 6th fight. He fought a guy in his 6th fight by the name of Waxem Fikes. And then they bumped him up to $1,200, $1,200, and then from there, Chris Bird went on to fight on USA Tuesday Night Fights and went that route, and then slowly began to build his career up. But Chris Bird had to go through the ringer, and he was a silver medalist. And y'all want to sit here and tell me that I should be gassed that USA fighters are winning silver medals? No. This is the USA. This is America. This is one of the greatest. In my opinion, it's the greatest country in the world. But as far as boxing goes, it's always been one of the predominant superpowers. And I'm not demeaning any countries. I'm just trying to say we should have higher standards for boxing in America. Now, I know it doesn't necessarily matter if you win a gold medal. You could still have a very successful professional career without a gold medal. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is the standards have fallen so low in USA boxing that people are forgetting the value of a gold medal. And I mean, it's great that we're medaling, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I am disappointed. I expected either Keyshawn Davis or Richard Torres Jr. to win a gold medal last night. Now, Richard Torres Jr., I'll be honest, he had he was up against he was up against it a little bit more than Keyshawn, in my opinion, because in his case, Torres had already fought. Richard Torres had already fought a guy, Jalolov, in the World Amateur Championships a couple of years before in 2019. Got knocked out, got sparked by Jalolov. Factor in Jalolov is 6'7". He's 5 years older. He's in his physical prime. Factor in that Jalolov has like 8 fights in the professional ranks, and it was going to be a tough hill to climb. But I thought Torres gave a great account of himself. Yeah, in the second round of that fight, there was the referee deducted a point, and that cost Torres a fight. But he had the tougher hill to climb. Now Keyshawn Davis, I'm not taking nothing down. I'm not taking nothing away from Andy Cruz. Andy Cruz is an exceptional fighter. He just has Keyshawn's number in the amateur. That's fine. But the way Keyshawn Davis was talked up for people in boxing, I thought he was gonna win the gold medal. And you can if you choose to be proud and congratulate Keyshawn Davis and for being awarded a silver medal, that's your prerogative. I'm not saying what you can or can't do, but I'm saying for me personally, I only celebrate the gold. I only celebrate the gold. There's no reason to get excited. Bulgaria has more gold medals in male boxing than the USA, and y'all want to get excited about it. Come on, man. I really love boxing, man. Boxing is a very personal thing to me. And I love my country. Like, I love America. I mean, I love America so much. Look, I got my handy dandy notebook here. I love America so much that when I write my notebook, I have an American flag pen. I love my country. My dad served 6 years in the military. He gave his life for this country, and I was taught to love my country, and I do love my country, and I love my country so much that I hold USA boxing Olympians to the same standards that people hold USA basketball players and USA track stars and other sports that Americans seem to actually care about. But when you do that for boxers, it's a crime. It's not a good thing. And listen, USA boxing has a lot of things it needs to fix. The infrastructure needs to be fixed. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed, but we still had 3 fighters against all odds get to the gold medal match, and none of them came out victorious. So while it's a good moral victory and it's some good progress for the program, it's not the breakthrough that American boxing needs. And because of this, and you guys can say I'm being crazy, you guys can say, what the fuck is BT talking about? The reality is this. Because we don't create stars in the Olympics, and I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I'm going to have to say this to really drive my point home. Because we don't create stars in the in the Olympics like we used to, like in the good old days of all the guys that are in the bottom of the ticker, like in the good old days of Leon Spinks and Pernell Whitaker and the greatest American amateur of all time, Mark Breland. We used to create stars in the Olympics. Now we don't, and this hurts professional boxing for American fighters. A lot of people complain. I hear it all the time, especially from like the LDBC. The LDBC is always bitching and moaning, saying the American fighters get treated horribly, and the American fighters this, the American fighters that. Well, if America actually broke through and won a gold medal, someone would be a star, and you would have to manufacture something that's not there. You wouldn't have to rely on Ryan Garcia's Instagram following. You wouldn't need to rely on Gervonta Davis being in the Meek Mill music video. You wouldn't rely on things that have fuck all to do with boxing. The work would speak for itself, and the said fighter who won the gold medal would just they would be a star. The same way Joe Frazier was, the same way Howard Davis Jr. was on the way to becoming, the same thing Sugar Ray Leonard was, the same thing Pernell Whitaker was. Winning the gold medal was a great formula for all these great fighters. But apparently it's not anymore. And I listen, I go to gyms. You guys are not talking to someone like people need to understand something when you speak to me. Okay. I'm very well traveled in boxing. I go to a lot of gyms. I have friends in the fight game. I talk to a lot of fighters, and I make sure I listen really closely when I talk to fighters. And it just don't mean what it used to. It don't. A lot of these fighters in America that represent Team USA. I'm not saying all of them because I don't know all of them, but I'm saying there's a lot of fighters that I know that are part of the USA boxing program. They this is a means to an end for them. It's something that they can say they did, but it don't really burn deep down. You got your Clarissa Shields, you got your Andre Wards, to where it really, really means everything. But like, it's just the state of boxing in America is in dire strait. It's in a bad place. It's in a bad place, and it's not gonna get better. these next 4 years because we can't fucking win a gold medal. Unbelievable. America, a country that we talk about how good we are at fighting, and in the professionals we have a lot of great fighters, but like, we can't win a gold medal. We can't be like, look, everybody's saying, oh, well, USA doesn't win gold medals in boxing because of funding and all this stuff. Bullshit. If you get to the gold medal match and you box 3 rounds and you can't win 2 of them, then I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. If you can't win 2 out of 3 rounds clearly in the gold medal match and bring home the gold medal, then you shouldn't even be getting hype as a top flight amateur. Straight up, you shouldn't even be getting hype at all, because it's getting ridiculous that the standards have dropped this low. And like this morning, everybody said, "Oh, well, you're being disrespectful to the fighters." No, I'm not. Congratulations to Keyshawn Davis. Congratulations to Richard Torres Jr. Congratulations to Duke Reagan. God bless them, and I hope they all have great careers and everything goes great for them. But I'm talking about the standards, the lack of standards in America for the fighters, for the U.S. Olympic team. I mean, this is the same U.S. Olympic team we used to have. We had the '84 Olympic team. We had guys like Meldrick Taylor and Breland and Holyfield and De La Hoya. Look at De La Hoya. De La Hoya was one of the stars in boxing. What Canelo is now, De La Hoya during his day was that. Okay, he was that. And a big part of the reason, one of the big springboards, one of the catalysts, one of the things that made Oscar De La Hoya a star early in his career, it wasn't just because he was some good-looking kid, some good-looking guy, according to what people say, some good-looking guy from East LA. It wasn't because he could fight, just fight a little bit, and it wasn't because he spoke well. It was because he won a fucking gold medal for USA. That's what it was. And people miss that point. I don't understand people. I don't understand it. And the problem is when you speak your mind and you point these things out and you can see the bigger picture, like I can see the bigger picture, and you take your thoughts to social media, people's egos and people's egos are so fragile that they can't argue anything with you, so they just insult you. They just insult you. And all I want is these fighters to be the best they can be. I don't want nothing less. Nothing but the best will do. That's all I want. I want these fighters to be the best they can be. And that's a crime. That's a crime for me to want to see Keyshawn. Like, how badly I wanted to see Keyshawn Davis win that gold medal so badly last night. I wanted to see somebody at the top of that podium win that gold medal. And it just wasn't to be. But like, how crazy it is? Yeah, shout out to my guy, Robbie Dawson. Robbie Dawson with a great comment here. He says, you see in other countries what winning golds did for Anthony Joshua, Lomachenko. Also, promoters compete to sign gold medalists, meaning you get paid more a lot earlier in your career. And Robbie Dawson is 1,000% right. I unlike a lot of people who want to flap their gums and try to tell me what they think I don't know about boxing, I actually have people. I have people in this cell phone right now who are top managers in boxing. Okay, managers, promoters, all these things. So I know how managers think. I know how promoters think. And yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool winning. It's cool winning. It's great to win a silver. It's a great accomplishment. It's cool. It's cool winning a bronze. But it ain't got shit on winning a gold. I promise you that. Because when I talk to promoters and when I talk to managers, when I talk to promoters and I talk to managers, they don't say, "Oh yeah, I want to sign that kid that won a bronze medal. I want to sign a kid that won a silver medal." No. The first thing they talk about, whether the fighters from America, Kyrgyzstan, the UK, Tajikistan, Australia, whatever, Canada, whatever country it is that they represented, if that fighter wins the gold medal, that's the fighter that has the attention of the promoters. And too many times I go to gyms, right? And I go to gyms and I hear fighters having conversations, and sometimes I have conversations with me, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, well, the amateur shit don't matter and it don't count." And to a degree, they're right. It doesn't count in the sense of like how they're gonna do in the pros, because it's a completely different, it's a completely different game than the professional game. I get that part, but to outright dismiss the Olympics and say it don't matter, it does matter, because you win that gold medal, you can leverage that into being a star in boxing, the way it has worked for Joshua, the way it has worked for Lomachenko and fighters of that magnitude. We've seen what that's done. Anthony Joshua pretty much had the red carpet rolled out from him from the day that Eddie Hearn signed Anthony Joshua to right now. All right, That guy had the red carpet rolled out to him, and he was groomed to be the superstar that he is now. You see what he's doing now? He's putting 100,000 asses in the seats, and he's gonna do it again when he fights Usyk at the Tottenham Stadium, the first fight of the fight at the new Tottenham Stadium. Joshua's gonna sell 70,000 tickets again, and the catalyst for that was him winning a gold medal. Now you can argue all you want about whether you thought he won the gold medal or not. It was very controversial. But the reality is he won the gold medal, and that was the catalyst to get him to where he is now. You see what I'm saying? I just think that the gold medal has been devalued in America. It really has, and it's sad to see. It's really sad to see because there's very few things. Last night when you saw Andy Cruz on the top of the podium and you see Keyshawn Davis to the side, you could tell what it meant to Andy Cruz, and you could tell that it meant a lot to him. And I just wanted to see American on the podium, and that's a crime. But I never thought I'd say this. I can't even stand Kevin Durant in basketball, but I respect Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant, in many people's opinions, is the best basketball player in the world. He's got every right to be egotistical and whatnot, but he humbled himself enough to say, "Hey, I gotta get this gold medal for my country because we have a standard to maintain." They know that the narrative is that the NBA has the best basketball players, right? And they're predominantly American players, okay? And they have a standard to maintain, and he took the challenge on and he met that standard. But that standard is dropping Olympic by Olympic by Olympic in boxing. It truly is, and it's sad to see. It's sad to see, and how people can go on social media and say I'm in the wrong. It's beyond me. It really is. Fight news. What's good, champ? He says simply the best. BT speaking the truth. I am speaking the truth. Someone's gotta speak it. It's gonna hurt professionals. That's why, like last night we saw Michael Fox get robbed. Okay, let's use our brains. What was Gabriel Maestro was an Olympian. All right, so he had that leverage over Michael Fox. I'm not saying it makes it right, but this is what happens in professional boxing, and you guys don't want to acknowledge it. Isaac West, what's good, Champ? He says, but a lot of top pro boxers today weren't even Olympians. And yes, and that's not. I don't want nobody to misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not saying you need to be an Olympian. You don't need to be an Olympian to be a great professional fighter. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, it's not a good look for America to consistently not be winning gold medals in the Olympics because the people is hurting. It's not hurting the other countries. It's not hurting the other countries that they're not winning gold medals. It's hurting American boxing, and the ones that suffer the most are the American fighters. And for those of you out there who complain about the mistreatment of American fighters, like Demetrius Andrade, like Devin Haney, even though I don't think Devin Haney's mistreated, but I'm saying people say he gets mistreated. A lot of those issues that these guys are having, I'm being honest, a lot of these issues that these guys are having could have easily have been alleviated if they just won a gold medal. Straight up. If Demetrius Andrade was a gold medal, there's no way in hell that Canelo could get away with ducking him for 6 years across 2 to 3 different weight classes. No way in hell. BT guys take Mayweather, Holyfield, and Jones Jr. They haven't got every American thing. They got robbed in the amateur. Shakur Stevenson. Yeah, no. I don't think anybody was robbed last night. Personally, I thought Keyshawn did enough to win the gold medal. They didn't give it to him, but I thought it was a close fight. Could have went either way. Andy Cruz, his volume, his activity, his speed, that was the difference in the final. In the third round, which was the ultimate deciding round of the final. But no, not everybody. Listen, and I hate how everybody says, "Oh well, Roy Jones Jr., Mayweather, and Holyfield, they didn't win gold medals and they were Americans." Yeah, but let's be honest and let's just be real. I've seen Keyshawn Davis fight in the pros, and I've seen Duke Reagan fight in the pros, and I think they're good fighters, and I think they both have world championship potential. But there is absolutely no way on God's green earth that anybody that's competed for this Olympic team is anywhere in the same caliber as Mayweather, Holyfield, or Roy Jones Jr. You are on dog food. You must be on dog food if you want to even compare those guys to any one of those guys. So it happens a lot. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, Mayweather and Holyfield and Jones, they won silver medals and they won bronze medals." Well, no, these guys aren't those guys. So let's nip that in the butt. Yeah, Luke Campbell still getting fights. Luke Campbell. Everybody says Luke Campbell's a bum. Our people say Luke Campbell's not that good. He's overrated. Whatever. You can say whatever you want, but he's still making a living as just a solid lightweight contender off the strength of what he did in winning the Olympics. And these things do matter. Shout out to my guy. Shout out to my guy right here. He says the pro ranks are rigged because you can duck and lie to the fans, like we see many fighters, and the amateurs leaves nowhere to hide. Exactly, it leaves you nowhere to hide. And I listen. There's things about amateur boxing that I like. There's things about amateur boxing I dislike. I like professional boxing way more than I like amateur boxing, but I do like amateur boxing. I do, I do every year. I try to go to a couple amateur shows. I was just this past March. I was in when I was in Texas. I went to the Fort Worth Golden Gloves. I went to the Fort Worth Golden Gloves with my boy Felipe. I've gone to the Florida Golden Gloves in the past many times. I've been to plenty of amateur tournaments, so I know what amateur boxing is about. I know what kind of talent America has, and that's why I'm frustrated that America can't win a gold medal. And the thing that makes me frustrated about it is that I know how American fighters think, and I know how they look at the Olympics, and they don't think it's important. And it's not the ultimate end all be all of your career. But if you can get to the Olympics and you can get to the gold medal match, and you're just brushing it off like it's a nothing thing, and you're literally leaving millions and millions of dollars on the table. That's what people don't understand. When you win a gold medal for America, you're gonna get millions and millions and millions of dollars more than another fighter would if I just won a bronze or a silver. Oscar De La Hoya early in his career was getting endorsement deals off the strength of number one his marketability, but also because he won a gold medal. People who knew who he was, they liked the story about him being the kid from East LA that overcame the odds and all that stuff. That stuff resonates with people, and people don't see the large picture. They just these USA boxing amateur coaches, they're on their high horse, and they look at me as someone who I never competed as a professional or amateur fighter, so they think I don't know what I'm talking about. But Customato didn't train nobody. Customato didn't really have any fights. There was plenty of people in boxing who never had one professional fight or one amateur fight that still were some of the most influential figures in boxing. Guys like Gil Clancy and the list goes on. Like Gil Clancy, Joe Kawasaki's dad trained multiple world champions. He trained Joe, he trained Enzo McAnally, and the guy was a fucking jazz musician. So, people always say, "Oh, well, you never fought in the ring, so you can't talk about boxing or criticize boxing." And they're right. I didn't compete, but I sparred plenty of rounds to have a small understanding of what it's like in there. And on top of that, people criticize things they don't do all the time. That's why if you go on Google and you Google your favorite restaurant, you can Google your favorite restaurant. You can Google your favorite restaurant, and there will be these things called reviews where people can say either the food was great and we liked it, and we're coming back, or they're gonna say the food sucked. Don't go to this place and give you a star. But I can guarantee you, people that leave food reviews on Google, not all of them are expert chefs. They're not expert chefs, but they have reviews. Same thing for movies. People say movies are great and they win Grammys, or not Grammys, Oscars. They say they suck or they say they're good. And a lot of people can't make films, so it's no different with boxing. People criticize shit they can't do all the time, or that they don't do. A lot of people can't sing, a lot of people can't rap, but they say this rapper sucks and that singer's bad. Come on, man. Let's put our egos to the side. Let's put our egos to the side and let's acknowledge the problem. Let's acknowledge the problem of what's going on here in America. Like, you fighters gotta take this shit more serious when it comes to winning the gold medal for the country, because the other countries aren't being hurt. You're the ones getting hurt. You're leaving millions of dollars on the table. You're not hurting anybody but yourselves. If you win a medal, God bless you, but it's not a gold. So it's not the same as winning a silver and a bronze is great. It's something to hang your hat on. You can hang it up in your room and tell your grandkids about it. And you should be proud of it because it's very hard to get to the Olympics, let alone win a medal. But it is not anywhere in the same stratosphere. Let me highlight that part of my sentence. It's not anywhere on the same stratosphere as winning a gold medal. Because look at those names. Look at those names at the bottom of that ticker. Guys like Muhammad Ali and George Foreman and Joe Frazier and Howard Davis Jr., Sugar Ray Leonard, Michael Spinks, Leon Spinks. You got Pernell Whitaker. You got guys like Frank Tate and Evander Holyfield, and the list goes on and on and on. Mark Breland. All right. These guys were exceptional names. You don't want to be a part of those exceptional names? That Oscar De La Hoya, Ray Mercer, Paul Gonzalez. Come on, man. Steve McCroy. Come on, David Reed. Andre Ward. Come on, man. Like, when did it become a crime to hold USA amateur Olympians in the Olympics to high standards? You know what I'm saying? Isaac West says that winning 2 gold medals is a waste of time. He should have turned pro. It was wasted years. He could have turned pro, but winning titles, making money. He's talking about Lomachenko. And you could say that's an argument you could make, but was it really a waste of time? Because when he got to the pros, he was fast tracked to the titles, and every fight he had from pretty much his pro debut to the Teofimo fight, people cared about it. He was relevant. He was getting money. He's made good money in his career. I don't think it was a waste of time. I think it was smart. Now, it hurt him. It hurt him in the sense, it hurt him at the top level, because when he fought Teofimo Lopez, he still had those amateur habits. But if we're talking about making money, making a living for yourself, and setting yourself up for life after boxing, it wasn't a waste of time, because those 2 gold medals gave him leverage at the negotiating table with Top Rank to move his career the way he saw fit. So let's not downplay the value of a gold medal. That's how bad it's gotten. And I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. It's been 45 minutes. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but that's how bad it has gotten in this country with Olympic boxing. We haven't won a gold medal in male boxing in so long, that we don't even know the fucking value of a gold medal no more, because we haven't seen anybody do it. And then all the guys that were hyped up to no end, like Shakur Stevenson, like Keyshawn Davis, like Devin Haney, they couldn't get it done. They couldn't win the big one, and it has hurt their careers. You know how much more marketable? Look at Shakur Stevenson. Let's camp out on Shakur Stevenson, because, I actually, unlike most of you guys, I actually met the young man for myself, right? I met the young man for myself, and I interviewed him right before he went to the Olympics. And there was a lot of talk about Shakur Stevenson. And I like Shakur Stevenson, and I'm a fan of him. But the big thing in his career right now, and I know he's fighting Jamel Herring, and that's going to be a great fight, but look how long it's taken him to get the Jamel Herring fight. And he can't get the fights he really wants. Why? Because he doesn't have any leverage. He has no negotiating power. But I bet you this: if Shakur Stevens had that gold medal, he would get the damn fight with Oscar Valdez. But there's no negotiating power, because he don't got nothing to bring to the table. The gold medal for guys like Shakur Stevenson and Demetrius Andrade and Andre Ward, guys who don't have big personalities, guys who don't punch hard, guys who are like Mike Tyson, the gold medal was the great equalizer. You could be a soft-spoken guy, and you could be a great boxer, and you could still make money, and you could still dictate terms, and you could still negotiate at the negotiating table if you had that in your back pocket. But if you don't have that in your back pocket, then, my friend, a silver is cool, but you are not. It's not the same thing. It is not the same thing. So let's okay, it's great. America is doing better in the Olympics in boxing than they've done in a long time. That's all fine. Let's all gather around the campfire and let's sing Kumbaya. But in the grand scheme of things, this hurts American boxing, and people don't want to see that. But you know what? When you have a foreign fighter fight a hyped American fighter, and it's a close fight, and the American fighter clearly lost, and the foreign fighter gets robbed, I'm gonna say, well, hey, it's because of the Olympics. If we had some damn gold medalists, and we were producing some stars in the Olympics, they wouldn't have to rob the foreign fighter. They wouldn't have to. Shout out to everybody here, man. Fight News. He says America used to have all gold, everything. Now we at the pawn shop trying to cash in our bronze and silver. Yeah, we at the damn pawn shop trying to cash in bronze and silver. Come on, man. Have some standards. We need to get back to a place in this country with the Olympics where, we have the same standards, or not the same, but like similar standards to what USA basketball. Because I'll tell you this, USA basketball, for those of you who don't know, I'm a massive basketball fan. Basketball is one of my favorite sports. But like USA basketball, when they lost the first game to France, everybody started acting like the sky was falling. Hell, I was acting like the sky was falling because the standard is so high. They are supposed to win the gold medal because they have all the best players, okay? They have all the best players in the world on the team. So if they don't win the gold medal, it's a failure. It's a failure. If they want to, when the USA won the bronze and lost to Argentina in 2004, it was a failure. It was a disgrace, and it was a blemish on every player who played on that team. If you look at their whole career, it was a blemish on the resume. That's why, LeBron James has a blemish on his resume for me. As much as I love Tim Duncan, that's probably one of his only blemishes. The fact that he won a bronze medal. He was part of one of the worst USA Olympic basketball teams in history. But Michael Jordan, never happened to Michael Jordan. Never happened to Magic. Come on, man. Julio Cesar Martinez says, Americans still in the pros. To an extent, but not really. Not really, because if we look at the top American stars, like okay, forget the American stars. Let's look at the top stars in boxing in general. Okay, you got Canelo Alvarez, who's Mexican, doing his thing. You got Anthony Joshua from the UK. Anthony Joshua won a gold medal. And then after that, I mean, who is America's? Who could we definitively say right now is America's biggest star? Deontay Wilder, Gervonta Davis, Spence, Crawford. Who is it? T.O. Who is it? We can't even define who the best American superstar is in boxing. And the reason we can't do that, the reason there's no draws in America, and the reason that there's no clear-cut American superstar is because none of these guys won a gold medal. But back in the day, anybody who touched a gold medal, pretty much from America, they were if they were worth anything in the pros, if they could just be above average in the pros, if they could be like a top 5 caliber fighter in the weight class, they were gonna be something in boxing because it means that much. It means that much. There's no superstars in American boxing. I love my American fighters. I got friends that are American fighters, and I still got high hopes for them, and I'm going to still cover them, and I'm still going to talk positive about them, and I'm going to continue fighting the good fight here on True School Sports. But while I'm fighting that good fight, I have a responsibility to tell the damn truth, whether you like it or not. So if I offend people along the way, and if I lose some people along the way, if I lose subscribers or I lose Facebook friends or Twitter friends, who cares? I don't care if I have any friends. As long as I got God, as long as God and me are okay, that's all that matters at the end of the day. There's no superstars in American boxing. That's reality. The gold medal used to be what propelled you to superstardom, but we don't win gold medals no more. That's what I'm saying. Think about it. Isaac's bringing up a great point. I want to shout Isaac. He's been delivering some great comments to keep the conversation going. Think about it. Mike Tyson, arguably the biggest boxing superstar of all time, massive. How big would he have been with a gold medal? Want me to tell you how big he would have been with a gold medal? He would have been as big as Muhammad Ali. You're damn right. Because guess what? Muhammad Ali had a gold medal. So that, I mean, eventually he wound up throwing it in the damn water. But I'm just saying, the gold medal just gives you that extra layer of superstardom. It's like when you have a cake, right? Like if you're already a great fighter and you're very skilled and you're a great professional fighter, that's the cake, right? But the gold medal, that's the icing. It's the icing on the cake. It's the icing on the cake, and it's the catalyst that pushes you towards superstardom in the pros. And it doesn't happen the way it used to for the American fighters. And I really wish people would just call it for what it is. Just call a spade a spade. Call a spade a spade. It doesn't mean that you can't still be a great fighter in America without a gold medal. It doesn't mean that your career is done because you didn't win a gold medal. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, I don't think it's being properly valued by the American fighters the way it used to be. And that's hurting American boxing. That's hurting even the foreign fighters because they want to come in here and getting robbed against American fighters who are trying to make stars because we don't create them in the Olympics no more. You know what I'm saying? As an American fight fan, I would love to trade Deontay Wilder for Anthony Joshua. I'm right there with you. Deontay Wilder, I mean, he won a medal and he won a bronze. He did. No, let me correct myself. He didn't win a bronze because you can't win a bronze or a silver. You're awarded, all right? You are awarded a bronze or a silver. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he probably didn't deserve the gold medal, and a lot of people thought he lost. But the reality is he got the gold medal. And that's why. And even if it was a corrupt decision and it went his way, you can see what it's led to. You can see what winning a gold medal has done for Anthony Joshua. So you're proving my point. Tank versus Ryan and Errol versus Carver could both do major pay-per-view numbers in all 4 Americans. I see your point though. Yeah, they would all do great numbers. But I'm gonna tell you this: the reason that their promoters are very hesitant to put them in these big fights before they can before they can actually maximize their value is because none of these fighters have clear-cut leverage in negotiations. Like Spence don't have clear-cut leverage. Crowder don't have the clear-cut leverage. Neither does Ryan. Neither does Tank. These guys don't transcend the realms of boxing fans. And if they do, it's not to a large scale. But one of the ways that these fighters would have had that power is if they would have won a gold medal. But unfortunately, Crawford didn't even make the USA Olympic team. Errol Spence didn't even medal. Ryan, he didn't. None of these guys want to gold medal. So like, I'm just saying, man. You can hate it, you can love it, but it's how the game goes. Wizard Sleeve, not a guy that I agree with all the time, but he most of the time, we agree and he talks sense. And this comment is facts. This comment is stone cold, crystal clear cut facts. The biggest current U.S. star in boxing isn't none of these guys. It's Jake fucking Paul. It's Jake Paul. Jake Paul is the biggest star in American boxing. You can hate that. You can say he's a fake fighter, but guess what? When he fights Tyron Woodley on pay-per-view, I can almost guarantee you it'll be the biggest pay-per-view in boxing all year. It'll do more numbers than Spence and Pacquiao. It'll do more numbers than any pay-per-view. Fury Wilder 3. You name the pay-per-view, it's gonna outsell it. And I know he didn't win a gold medal, but I'm just saying he can actually transcend the realms of boxing fans and sports fans. He has reach. None of these guys have reach because none of them win gold medals, and most of them don't know how to promote themselves. And if they do know how to promote themselves, they haven't accomplished enough to gain the height that can transcend boxing. But one of the ways they could have did that before they even turned pro was when they gold medal, and people are not seeing that. Ryan Garcia and Tank are no good for boxing. I enjoy watching both of them fight, but to me, Teofimo Lopez is the man until proven otherwise. And yeah, somebody said the sanctions with the Cubans. Yeah, my man BB here. He said we might not get the gold, but we crushed Cuba with sanctions. They can't eat their gold medals. This is true. So that's a different story though. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. We get folded up by the Cubans and the amateurs, and then in the pro we match them tough. We make them or we rout them. Like look at what happened to Ugas with Porter. Look what's happened to a lot of their fighters. A lot of people thought Lara got robbed against Canelo. Jake Paul is the gimmick. Once people see him fight a few times, it will get old. Casuals aren't as good as we think. They still can tell he isn't really skilled. Well, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. We'll see when he fights Tyron Woodley. I'm picking him. I think he'll beat Tyron Woodley. Straight up, I think he'll beat Tyron Woodley. I think the fight's happening at the perfect time. But we'll see. Tio has no star appeal. He's not very likable or good looking like King. Okay, I'm confused by your comment. Exactly. And they can hate Danny Garcia. They can hate Angel. I know a lot of people do hate Angel, but Angel Garcia tells the stone cold truth. He's speaking the truth. He's speaking the truth. The truth of the truth. Like he once said in that one interview. He said, the truth of the truth. He said, if you walk around America with a silver medal, they're gonna look at you and say you never won gold. And that's how it is, because that's how the American mentality is. Sometimes it's a good thing, and sometimes it can cause people to live with anxiety and all these things. But that's what makes the country so great. We strive to make to innovate and create great things in America, or we used to at least. We used to at least. And now we celebrate silver medals. So we celebrate silver medals. And as far as Tommy Fury and Jake Paul, I think that's a competitive fight. Tommy Fury's resume is just as bad as Jake Paul's. Straight up, man. So yeah, I just listen. I just want better for the country. Kevin Durant, listen. Anybody who knows me in real life or talks basketball with me, you guys will know how much of a Kevin Durant hater I am, because Kevin Durant, he used to be one of my favorite players in basketball before he pulled that punk ass move and went to the Warriors. But I gotta put some respect on his name. Okay, it was a tough Olympics. France had a good team. Really good team. Australia had a very good team. The rules are different. It's not like the sissy soft watered down basketball they play in the NBA. And he was able to adjust, and he still scored. He showed in this Olympics his greatness and why he's one of the best scorers to ever play the game of basketball. And you saw what it meant to him when he won. He told everybody to act like some Americans, and I respect him for that. I respect Kevin Durant, and Once the NBA season starts, I'll be rooting against them. But Kevin Durant got my respect this Olympics. Yeah, and Drew Holiday, shout out to Drew Holiday, an NBA champion and a gold medalist. You know, Fight News says I don't believe that at all. People literally want gimmick. It's entertainment. The very best boxers don't even get any love. They get called boring. Yeah, everybody says they want the best versus the best, right? They say, oh, I want to see the best fight the best. But then if that was the case, then why wasn't Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez the most talked about and anticipated fight of the year? Beyond just boxing fans, beyond just the YTBC, beyond just hardcore fans, because people don't really want to see the best fight the best. Let me tell you the truth. Listen, we're dropping truth bombs here today on True School Sports. Let me tell you guys the truth. People do not want to see the best fight the best. The reality is, most boxing fans, and I'm just being honest, most boxing fans have sad lives. And because they have sad lives and they're not happy with themselves and what they're doing with their lives, they vicariously live through fighters. So they want that fighter by any means necessary to win, because when they win, they feel like they won. And this makes them feel like they have a sense of accomplishment, like even though they didn't actually win the fights. So if the fighter has to duck another fighter, avoid him, whatever, they're okay with that, because if their fighter wins, they feel like they won. They don't want to see the best fight the best, because if people really wanted to see the best fight the best, then that really means that Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez would have been the biggest fight of the year. It would have, because it was two undefeated Olympians. I mean, guys that represented their countries. Taylor was on the GB squad. He boxed in the Olympics. Jose Ramirez was a U.S. Olympian. They're both undefeated in the pros. They have both accomplished some things. They have both been in exciting fights before they fought each other. And it wasn't the biggest fight of the year. So it's all that we want to see the best fight the best. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Got me fired up today. You must be talking about hardcore Mayweather fans. They brag about how much money he made compared to another fighter, yet they are broke themselves. Yeah, man. Like this applies to Mayweather fans. This applies to Canelo's fans. This applies to Wilder's fans. This applies to Gervonta Davis. Any fighter who's got a dick riding fan base in boxing, or has had a dick riding fan base in boxing, where the fans don't want to see them fight the best fighters because they say it's money and purse, and they use all these excuses. Come on, man. Come on, man. Let's be real and let's call a spade a spade. Y'all don't care about the best fighting the best. You want your favorite fighter to win because it makes you feel good about yourself, because you haven't accomplished anything in your life. Straight up. And look, listen, I got friends in the fight game. I got friends, people that I've went out to eat with, prayed with, went to church with, ran mountains with, boxed with. I got friends in the professional fight game right now that, like, if they lose, yeah, I'm gonna be very sad about it, but I don't even get as worked up as some of these Canelo fanboys or Mayweather fanboys or Wilder fanboys. And these are people I know personally, because at the end of the day, I understand that they can go in there and they can lose. They can go in there and they can lose just like anybody else. And if they lose, that doesn't change who they are as people or anything like that. Jesus M says, talk about the Virgil versus Egis Kavaluskis card. Not much talk about on YouTube. There's no promotion. You know what? You're damn right. You're damn right, Jesus. That'll be tomorrow's live. That'll be tomorrow's live. We'll talk about them tomorrow. Right? I want to stick to talking about the USA not winning a gold medal, and people getting happy about us winning a silver medal. And it goes back to like this participation trophy, no child left behind act bullshit this culture that's been permeating the country the last 20 years. And I grew up in that generation. And I'll be honest with you, look, when I was a kid, the sport that I grew up playing the most was baseball. I played baseball from the age of 6 to like 15 or 16 years old. I was pretty good, but I wasn't focused in high school, and I got distracted with some stuff, so I didn't stick with it. But we had some coaches that played in the minor leagues that had a high opinion of my baseball skills back then. And I remember when we would play when I played recreational baseball when I was like 6 or 7 years old, and at the end of the year they'd have a big picnic and a barbecue, and everybody would get a trophy. So like my team would get a trophy. My team was always like one of the best teams in the local Optimus League. The team that was trash would get a trophy. We would all get the same trophy, even though we had different results. And I couldn't understand that when I was 6, 7 years old. And that's why we're celebrating silver medals in boxing now. That's the kind of culture that has been bred in America over the last 10 to 15 years. Straight up. Fight News says, "Wow, BT, or what WTF BT? You struck a nerve with that one. I'm gonna make a video about this, bro. Yeah, make a video about it, and I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it when you put it out. I'm gonna watch when you put it out because people don't understand the gravity, right? The gravity of what a male winning a gold medal will do. Look, Claressa Shields, right? Everybody says they get annoyed hearing about Claressa Shields, right? But the reason we have to hear about Claressa Shields, whether you love her or you hate her personality, the reason we got to hear about Claressa Shields and be subjected to Claressa Shields talking is because Claressa Shields won 2 gold medals. She performed at an exceptional level. Now you could say women's boxing don't count. You could say women's boxing is trash, all that stuff. But the reality is, whatever competition was there in front of her, she made sure that she was the cream of the crop and she rose to the top. She was creme de la creme. And because of that, she will always get some sort of publicity in boxing. That those 2 gold medals will carry her name throughout history. Isaac said it best. Participation awards make people pussies. Exactly. And I don't want nobody to give me anything. That's why, like, and I don't want to get too deep into like politics because then we might make some more enemies. But like that's like even now with like stimulus checks and stuff. Like it's getting ridiculous. The stimulus checks, people are getting chump change and they're okay with it, letting the government take care of them, and it makes them soft and it takes away their drive to achieve and do better in life. No, man, no participation trophies. We're not saying that Keyshawn Davis can't fight. He's a great, fantastic young talent. Same thing with Duke Reagan. I like Duke Reagan from Ohio. I like uh, Richard Torres Jr. These are all talented fighters. But the reality is they all made the gold medal match and they went over 3. So we shouldn't be celebrating anything. We can recognize the improvement. We can say, okay, we're heading in the right direction. Things are getting better for Team USA. Hopefully we can take this small moral victory because that's what it is. That's what it is. Winning a silver medal for the USA is a small moral victory, and we can go to the next Olympics and win a gold. But until we win that gold, anything else is secondary. Amir Khan is treated like the greatest in the UK for winning a silver medal. He is, but you know what? I'll tell you this: he was treated very, very well by the UK. But do you know who's been treated better than Amir Khan and who's about to be treated better than Amir Khan? Anthony Joshua was treated better than Amir Khan because he won a gold medal. And Galal Yafai, who's the brother of former super flyweight champion Kal Yafai and Gamal Yafai, Galal Yafai, who won a gold medal in this Olympics, he's going to get way better treatment than Amir Khan and a lot of fighters because he done the country proud and he won the gold medal. So, but you're right though. He won a silver medal at 17. He got the $1 million Reebok contract. I know all about it. Trust me. Amir Khan was one of my favorite fighters at one point in history. So I know all about what that medal did for him. But it as well as it did for him, I can guarantee you, if you would have won the gold, it would have done even more. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with Kal Yafai's brother Galal, who just won a gold medal for Great Britain. Fight News says, nah, BT. I was talking about when you said the truth about boxing fans. Man, that was some facts. Yeah, bro. Look. I'm just being honest. If you get offended by this, if the shoe fits, wear it. A lot of boxing fans, unfortunately, have sad, pathetic lives. They do. All right? And because they're not achieving anything in their sad, pathetic lives, they look to people that are achieving things in their lives. So they'll look at a Canelo Alvarez. They'll look at Anthony Joshua. They'll look at Manny Pacquiao. They'll look at Floyd Mayweather. They'll look at Deontay Wilder. Whoever their favorite fighter happens to be. And when that fighter wins, they feel like they won, even though they didn't do anything, And they're overcompensating for what they're lacking in life. So I'm looking forward to that video. That's a fact that can't be refuted. That's why we have things like the LDBC, which is full of a bunch of people who, you know, they might have achieved some things in life, but they're clearly not happy or content with it, because if they were, they wouldn't feel the need to put down fighters of other ethnicities at every opportunity. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm looking forward to the video. But shout out to everybody here, man. I've been rambling for an hour. Yeah, Isaac West, another great comment. He says he remembers watching one of Floyd's first fights, and the commentator was saying Floyd was earning like $5,000, but De La Hoya was the gold medalist, and he was already earning 50 grand at that stage. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the big reasons Floyd left Top Rank in the first place. Hear me out here. Before Floyd Mayweather bought out his contract for Top Rank Boxing, the reason he had problems with Top Rank Boxing was because he couldn't get the big fights, and that they weren't treating him or giving him the star treatment that they were giving Oscar De La Hoya. And the reason that he wasn't getting the star treatment that Oscar De La Hoya was getting was because, whether he got robbed or not, he didn't win the gold medal. That's reality. The gold medal gave Oscar De La Hoya the leverage he needed to just shoot his way to superstardom. That's facts. Can't be refuted. And shout out to my guy right here. My man says, if you think this mindset isn't trickling down to all levels of society, seeping into every facet, i.e., defeatist outlook affecting what people achieve, then you don't understand, man. Exactly. A lot of people, that's why Instagram and social media is so dangerous, because a lot of people can follow their favorite celebrities, and they can vicariously live through them on Instagram. Why do you think? Like someone like Dan Bilzerian, who was a trust fund baby, who got exposed for being a fucking trust fund baby? All right. Why do you think Dan Bilzerian can post all these pictures with all these big breasted bimbos on Instagram and get millions of followers? It's because people, they see something they like, they want to be on the boat, they want to have 30 women around them, and that's what he's selling them, and they're buying into it. So great point, and an amazing comment. How do you think Jadalov does in the professionals? Look, I like Jadalov. Um, I think he's getting better. I think very soon we'll see what he's made of. But I think in like the next year and a half, 2 years, he'll be knocking on the door of being a top 10 contender. Good size, good movement for his size, physical. But I want to see how he does with somebody his size. So I want to see Jadalov in there with the Hergovics of the world and Joe Joyces and guys like that. But I think at minimum he'll be a top 10 contender. But I can't sit here and just crown him and say he's gonna be world champion. Yeah, not only boxing, but other sports as well. We and they vicariously live with them. Well, I'm a huge, anybody who knows me personally, I'm a massive Miami Marlins baseball fan. Like, I'm a huge fan of the Marlins. We're not very good, but I take a lot of pride being from South Florida, being in the fact that we've won 2 World Series championships in less than 30 years. That's something that a lot of baseball franchises haven't accomplished in double that time. So it brings great pride to me. But I'm not going to see here, like, if the Marlins right now, the Marlins play the Colorado Rockies today, and they're getting their ass spanked 11-1, and we're having a really bad season. But it's not affecting me personally. My life still goes on. I still got things to accomplish here on YouTube. I still got things to accomplish in my personal life. I still got friends that friendships that I'm trying to work on, family that take care of, things all like that. So, it doesn't affect me like that. Now, maybe when I was younger and more mature, maybe it did, but it's just it's I don't want to say it's just a game, because it's not, but the game isn't big enough for me to put my self-worth into what another man's achievements are. That makes sense. Olympic boxing, yeah. LDBC. That's every sport. Same with acting and music. Yeah, but with boxing, it's a bit different though, because like boxing's a one-on-one sport. So like if someone's like a Los Angeles Lakers fan and they're vicariously living through them, they're more so living through vicariously through an idea, the idea of the Los Angeles Lakers, the idea of the Showtime Lakers, the idea of Magic Johnson coming down the fast break and throwing little passes, the idea of Kobe Bryant fadeaway jumpers and the flash and the flare that they play basketball with. They identify with that. They identify with the idea and the culture of the team. But when you talk about individual sports like boxing, it's completely different because there's no team colors. These fighters are the fighting prides of their cities and their countries. So it's more of an intimate experience when you follow a fighter, and a lot of fans get too intimate with the fighters, and if they have a fighter that has personality traits or an upbringing that they identify with, then they feel like that's them in the ring, and you could see how it affects them by how they react to certain fights. Only in America that common citizen on YouTube make millions instantly versus professional boxers get paid less, far less for a sacrifice, dedication, risk, boxing career not compensated for enough. Yeah, but boxing is a sport that's it's a sport, it's a business, a free enterprise, and it's a simple case of supply and demand. There's no unions in boxing to look out for the fighter, so it's not like baseball or basketball or any of the four major sports. It's about supply and demand. So as a fighter, when you're a fighter in the professional ranks, you're supposed to do things that increase your value monetarily. And one of the things that would increase an American fighter's value monetarily that American fighters don't seem to understand these days is winning a gold medal. But I agree. I think fighters should get paid more. And in a perfect world, boxing would have a union, and fighters would get compensated for accordingly. But that's not. Word of the day says, "What are you talking about? You don't know boxing," is the response. Yeah, that's like literally everything I'm telling you guys right now about how America should not be celebrating silver medals and how America shouldn't be happy with second place and we shouldn't be celebrating that. There was plenty of people that I'm friends with on Facebook, amateur coaches, former amateur fighters, whatever fans. They all hit me with the line of you never fought. How many amateur fights do you have? Um, those type of things. But I bet you the same people saying that at some point in their life they've said a restaurant is not that good, or the food sucks, or that a musical artist they don't like sucks. So they're hypocrites. People criticize things they don't do all the time. So what are you talking about? Come on, man. My man Nuka says, BT speaking facts on the Bazarian culture, all fake. By the way, young Teofimo Lopez winner or Lomachenko was very important for young US fighters. America's greatest asset is their confidence, and they must not lose that. Exactly. The American mentality is one of the things that makes American fighters great. Look. Take Caleb Plant, for example. I know Caleb Plant's under a lot of scrutiny right now, but if he were to fight Canelo, he's gonna have a fighting chance because of it of the mentality. He has the American mentality, which is he said, yeah, I'm not the Canelo beat Smith and he beat Saunders, but I'm not those guys. Canelo can't fuck with me, that's the confidence that American fighters used to have back in the day, but now it's not like that. It's not like that anymore. Exactly. Winning a gold medal gets you automatic A-side criteria. It is. It is. It really is. Exactly. I love sports. I'm one of the biggest sportsmen you'll probably ever meet. I watch a lot of sports, but I've matured and gotten to a place in my life to where, like, if my team loses or wins, it doesn't affect my day. Like, life goes on. There's nothing, and we talk about my personal life. My dad just nearly died of a heart attack. So when your father nearly dies of a heart attack, things that I thought were important aren't important anymore, and that's just what it is. What's your opinion on pro boxing competing in the Olympics? Yeah, if I was a British champion in the pros, I believe he just won the flyweight in gold. Well, no, Galal hasn't competed in the professional ranks. I think you're getting Galal confused with Gamal, who was Cal's other younger brother. He won the European Championship. He won a European Championship against Luca Rigoldi in late last year. So they're two different people. Galal was an amateur, never turned pro. But as far as my opinion on professional boxers competing in the Olympics, I think honestly, look, I think it's great. I actually think it's a great thing, but it's not great for America because none of the top None of the top like American amateurs are competed. Like American fighters competed. Like Devin Haney, right? Everybody talk about Devin Haney, and this is one of the reasons why I think Devin Haney isn't great. I don't look at Devin Haney the same way other people do in America, because he was 17 years old. They changed the rule, and he chose instant gratification. All right, Devin Haney chose instant gratification over the large picture. All he had to do was wait two. All he had to do was wait 2 years, compete in the Olympics, win the gold medal. He would have been the biggest star this country's produced in a long time. And he chose to turn pro, fight bums in Mexico, pad his record, and now he still can't get the fights he wants. So he wasted a bunch of time. He really did. Yeah, like look, the fans of certain fighters cannot hear the critique without of their favorite fighter without getting offended. They can't. They really can't. Wizard Sleeve, what's good, champ? He says, and this is the comment of the day. This is the comment of the day. He says, BT has a boxing knowledge beyond his years, and I mean, look, I'm not saying that I know everything about boxing because nobody knows everything about boxing, but I really I'm a student of the game. Like I'm a student of the game. I watch fights that nobody would even has even. I watch fights all the time. When I talk to people in boxing who are more experienced than me, like trainers, managers, ex champions, whatever, current fighters, prospects, I make sure I listen and I try to learn as much as possible because I understand. I try to kind of stay like a blank canvas, like a kid, because I understand that no matter how much time I spend around boxing, no matter how much I think I know about boxing, there's always more to learn. And I love getting around people in boxing that when I get around them, they make me feel like I know nothing about boxing. And that those are the best conversations because I come away more educated and whatnot. Um, so yeah, I told you guys a long time ago, not to get too off topic, but it pertains to Wizard Sleeve. I told y'all a long time ago about Josh Taylor, and he's one of the only true fighters we have in boxing. To be honest, if you want to talk about true fighters in boxing, I know we're getting off topic, but Josh Taylor is one of the only true fighters we have in boxing. A guy that's fighting the best fighters available to him, no excuses, nothing. He's everything you ask for in a top fighter. Shows you all the skills. He shows you the grit, the counter punching, the jab, the adjustments, everything you want in a fighter. And he's still like he's getting his due to a point, but he still hasn't gotten his due the way he should be getting his due. You see what I'm saying? And he's another one. He didn't win a gold medal, but if he would have won a gold medal, I can guarantee you, Sky Sports would have shown his Jose Ramirez fight on pay-per-view because that was a big thing in the UK. Josh Taylor couldn't get his fight on Sky Sports. It wasn't on pay-per-view in the UK. But I can guarantee you, if he was a gold medalist, the fight would have been on pay-per-view. There wouldn't have been no big timing. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, like look, I'm hoping for the best for Team USA. If anything, the nasty comments that I got this morning on Instagram and Facebook about simply saying that we shouldn't be accepting second place nor celebrating second place, it's actually inspired me to follow through with some ideas I already had about improving amateur boxing in my area. So I'm not gonna disclose what those ideas are, but I'm gonna start putting them into motion because I don't want to just be one of those people that talks and whines on social media and doesn't do anything because then I'm no better than all the other complainers on social media. But you know, that's what it is. Josh Taylor said in an interview the other day he was only gonna have 5 more fights and then retire. I want to see so much more. Yeah, that would be a damn shame if he retired. Only 5 more fights. But it really depends. It really depends on what he accomplished. If he does have 5 more fights, what is he gonna what will he accomplish in those 5 fights? Because I'll tell you this: if he beats like Terrence Crawford and if he beats Terrence Crawford alone, he could retire, and I'll never I'll never say anything bad about Josh Taylor. He will have accomplished enough for me. I mean, he's already accomplished enough for me for me to say he's a great fighter, a truly great fighter. The first undisputed lightweight champion is Ken Buchanan. It's no small feat, and I've said it many times. I'm a fan of Teofimo Lopez. A lot of people don't know about this, but like when I first started boxing, Teofimo was an amateur, and I remember I used to hear his gyms in South Florida all the time. My first sparring partner The first person I ever sparred with was a kid named Gabriel Chacon at Canino's boxing gym, and I sparred with him regularly around the same time when Tiafimo was getting ready to fight him in the Golden Gloves. So, I've known for a long time how great Tiafimo is. I've sung his praises, but I really think if he fights Josh Taylor, that's one of the only fights where you're gonna hear me pick against Tio. I think Josh Taylor is that damn special. But if Tio can beat Taylor, credit to him. Credit to him. Anybody who beats Josh Taylor, anybody who puts a Teofimo Lopez or a Josh Taylor on the resume is not going to get any sort of criticism from me. None whatsoever. And as far as Josh Taylor being a pay-per-view star, I met Josh Taylor. I actually met Josh Taylor the night he won the undisputed titles. I don't know if you guys have seen that video, but I did a video kind of like detailing my experience of when I met Teofimo, or not Teo, when I met Josh Taylor at the Virgin Hotel after he won the title, and his aura, like his whole aura as a fighter, it was different. Like everything about Josh Taylor was different. Everything about how he carried himself was different. His presence was different. His aura was different. His confidence was different. His self-assurance was different. And I already knew Josh Taylor was special before I met him, but when I met him, that's when I really understood how special Josh Taylor is. And a lot of people don't like him. I saw a video, and I'm gonna. I know we're getting off topic. I'll probably end the live soon, but before I end the live, I wanted to say this. I saw a video, right, from a channel that is very has been on YouTube for a long time, that I've learned quite a little bit, a couple of things. I wouldn't say a lot, but a couple of things about boxing from, and that's Uma Fight Camp. There's a guy named Uma Fight Camp. Martial artist guy, been in the martial arts for years, not just boxing, and gives great breakdowns, insights to boxing most of the time. But he came out with a slew of videos, and I challenged him in the comment section. He didn't respond, but he said that Josh Taylor is only successful in boxing because of white supremacy and all these things, and he's trying to downplay him and say that if you're a Latin if you're a Latino, or if you're black, you shouldn't be impressed by his skill set. And speaking as somebody who is Latino, Josh Taylor has one of the best skill sets in this entire sport. He's one of the best and most complete fighters in this sport. And when I say best, most complete, I'm not just talking about pure skills. I'm talking about what's in here, and damn sure what's in here, because he showed he has a lot of this, and he has a lot of this. So, yeah, man. A lot of people trying, like, the guys that people say are great. Like, boxing is reflecting the world right now. They're saying things that are right, or things that are wrong, they're saying they're right, and things that are right, they're saying they're wrong. Josh Taylor should not be getting criticism from anybody right now for what he's done in boxing, but people still criticize him. People still don't want to give him his due, but they're gonna praise people like Canelo, who has ducked and avoided his fair share of fighters, and recently just lied to his own fans. He just lied to his own fans about fighting Dmitry Bivol, and nobody's even talking about that. Somebody asked me, am I picking Taylor to beat Crawford? He likes Taylor, but Crawford is a beast. No, look, Terrence Crawford is probably one of the only fighters I'm slightly favoring him over Josh Taylor. Like, and I mean slightly. I mean, when I say I'm slightly favoring Terrence Crawford over Josh Taylor, I'm talking about like, how people say it's a 50-50 fight or 60-40. I'm talking about, I got this shit like 52% Crawford, 48 Taylor. I think it's a very close fight. Taylor's quickness, his timing from the southpaw stance, his grittiness, his willingness to get on the inside, his counter punching ability. It's gonna give Crawford some problems. I don't think it's a blowout. A lot of people are just talking it up like, oh, it's a blowout. Taylor's coming up from 140. No, Terrence Crawford, I'm picking him. I think he'll win, but I don't even think he's safe against Josh Taylor. Not even Terrence Crawford is safe against Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor is good enough to beat the majority 147. Adrian, what's good, champ? How you living? Taylor doesn't have the body frame to go up the welterweight. What do you think, BT? I disagree. I saw him in person. I saw him in person. Bigger than he looks on TV. He definitely has the frame to go to welterweight. He definitely does. I think he'll carry his power up to welterweight. I think he'll be a strong, sturdy, durable, game welterweight fighter. Will he be a dominant, undisputed welterweight champion? That remains to be seen. I think it's going to be a lot difficult because the talent pool at 147 is way greater than 140. You got guys like Drought Ennis coming up, Virgil Ortiz, Spence, Thurman. There's a lot of guys to deal with at 147. So I don't think it's going to be a cake, not as easy a path to doing what he did at 140. But I think he'll go 147 and he'll still cause problems and he'll still be top names. BT, name 3 boxers called Hitman. Tommy Hearns, Ricky Hatton. Fuck, who's the I don't know the third. I know you got Ricky Hatton, you got Tommy Hearns, because they used to call Ricky Hatton Hitman. Ricky Hatton, Tommy Hearns, and who else? I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, you might need to help me out with that third one, but I know 2. I got 2, which is more than most people. Canelo had a problem moving up to 175 to fight a fixed fight against Kovalev, but now he wants to catch weight. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that in a video. But I agree. I agree. Canelo never even told his fans he was fighting Bivol. Those were rumors by the media. Canelo personally never spoke about fighting Bivol. He always said he wanted to be undisputed. Well, Canelo hasn't said anything, but you know what? The people that represent his career and that dictate what goes on in his career, they were talking about fighting Bivol. His representatives, the guys that represent him, talked about fighting Bivol. Therefore, even if he didn't run his mouth, he indirectly talked about fighting Bivol. And I told you guys a long time ago when I first heard that it was bullshit and that it was all going to be used as negotiation tactics. So yeah, the best way to make money, going back to our original topic, the best way to make big money in boxing is to win a gold medal, because you will have and captivate the attention of every promoter and manager who has any sort of influence and power in this sport. Straight up, man. BT, name a world champ who was a circus clown. Charles Martin. Definitely Charles Martin at that time. And I like Charles Martin, but he was a clown at that time. Yeah. We lie, man. It's the untouchable true school sports empire. I'm just trying to hold USA boxing to a higher standard, man. I love my American fighters. God bless Keyshawn Davis. God bless Richard Torres Jr. God bless Duke Reagan. Congrats on their achievement of medaling. But I'm not gonna sit here and celebrate it. Absolute. Oh shit. Charlo, you're right. I probably forgot that Jamal Charlo. I forgot Jamal Charlo was the hitman because he ain't been hitting nobody with Roman punches his last couple fights. He just been throwing these pity pat shots against Montiel. So that's probably why I forgot. But yeah, like congrats to them on winning their medals. Congrats to them on doing their thing. But it's not anything to go crazy about. USA is in dire need of a gold medal because the health of boxing in this country is in big need of it. It is in big need of it. You touched on something big. The ethnic loyalism going on in U.S. boxing is connected to the defeatist mentality cropping up. Less emphasis on winning, more on jealousy of winners from other backgrounds. Yeah, like, with and that's happening, and you see that, like I'm gonna keep calling them out. You see that in the LDBC. You see the LDBC always shit on Eastern European fighters or Latin American fighters or fighters from other countries, but they don't hold American fighters to these high standards. They don't, like, we should be holding them to these standards because it makes no sense. All the fighters from abroad, whether it be UK, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, any country would stand at the end, South America, wherever, Central America, they all come to America for sparring because the best sparring is in America. So that would insinuate, if they're coming for the best sparring, that some of the best fighters in the world are American, but we can't win a gold medal. So something isn't adding up. Andre was talking about fighting Eubank, Lara, Jamel, and he never did it. Did he lie to his fans too? Well, yeah, he talked about it, and then when he fought, and then when it came to fighting, Eubank didn't want the fight, Lara didn't want the fight, and then Jamel thing. You know what? Fuck it. Yeah, you could, if you want, you could say you could say that. I don't agree with you, but you could say it. You could say Demetrius lied to the fans. I don't think he lied to the fans, but you could say he lied to the fans. So yeah, take that around with it if you want. What I can tell you is this: Demetrius Andrade has never been in a political position of power like Canelo, and that's he's got to take some blame for that because he made some bad business decisions. He didn't win a gold medal. I'm gonna start doing that. If fighters from America don't win a gold medal, but then they go to the pros and they talk about politics and boxing, I don't want to hear it. If you get to the gold medal match and you don't win and you're a victim of politics, you had a chance to get yourself some leverage and didn't do it. Troy Graham, what's good, champ? Good to see you. My dad's doing good. My dad's doing good. And yeah, that 84 team, man, what a time. I wasn't alive back then, but I'm sure it was great to watch. I have to watch all those fights on reruns. Jeff Harding. Jeff the Hitman Hart. What a blast from the past. That's like one of them. That's like one of them names. That's one of them names that you only like when I see like a name like Jeff the Hitman Hardy, I'm thinking of like KO magazine and them old KO magazine covers. The only way to make big money in boxing is to win a gold medal, unless you are a son of a legend. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you guys, the only way to make big money in boxing is to win a gold medal, be Mexican or Puerto Rican, or be a son of a legend. Straight up. That's what it seems like. That's what it seems like. USA has more variety of styles than any country. I would say so. I mean, we got pressure fighters. We got fighters from that box on the outside. We got guys like Demetrius Andrade that throw punches from all these weird angles. America has probably the most diversity of any country in boxing, style wise, and we can't win a gold medal. True School, name the only fighter that fought for 2 different weight class belts in one fight. Didn't Gervonta Davis just do that? I know like they were like secondary titles, but didn't Gervonta Davis technically just do that when he fought Santa Cruz? Because like wasn't there a belt from 130 on the line and then a belt from 35 on the line simultaneously? I could be wrong, but I could have swore that's what happened. But I'm trying to think. If it's not Gervonta Davis from 2 different weight classes in one fight, I don't know. You just give me the answer. I don't know. I like Troy because every time Troy talks to me about boxing, I learn something new. And every time Troy talks to me about boxing, I hear about fights that I never heard of. Like he's actually the guy. Like it's funny now because a year later, I'm always the one talking about Tyrone Trice and Simon Brown. Like whenever I go anywhere, I always tell people, "Oh, have you seen the fight with Tyrone Trice and Simon Brown? The first fight." And the answer is always no. But he was the one who told me about that fight in the first place. So I gotta tip my cap to Troy. Is that Sean Newton? Oh shit, it's Sean Newton. One of the old shout out to Sean Newton. He said Sugar Ray Leonard versus Lalonde. I know about that fight. I watched that fight like a year ago. But yeah, man, that is one of the ways. Be Mexican or Puerto Rican. If you're Mexican or Puerto Rican, that's reality. That's reality. Why do you think? Look at Berlanga. I mean, Berlanga. I like Berlanga, and I got high hopes for Berlanga. But why do you think Berlanga is catching on so much? He's Puerto Rican. He's knocking people out. He's Puerto Rican, even though technically, if you want to be technical, the dude was born in New York and grew up there like his entire life. So he's really American, but you don't want to be American because it's not marketable to be American unless you win a gold medal. We don't win gold medals no more. So that's just what it is. What if you are Mexican and Puerto Rican and have a gold medal? Are you a cash cow then? I would say so. It would definitely help. It's not going to hurt. You're going to have, because the thing with Mexican and Puerto Rican fighters is that they have those built-in fan bases already. Like if they're good and the promoters put any promotional dollars behind them, they're going to be talked about. They're going to be relevant. But if they have a gold medal too, along with being good, I don't see why they wouldn't. Like Canelo Alvarez, as big as he is now, I couldn't imagine how much bigger he'd be if he had a gold medal. If he was the same fighter he is now, like same style, same everything, same fighter he is now, same resume, but with the gold medal. Oh my God. There you go. Troy dropped with the knowledge. Sugar and Leonard in his fight with Diane Lalonde, they fought for the vacant 168 belt and 175-pound belt. Yeah. I literally just watched that fight like a year ago. Like probably like I watched that fight like in July of last year. I was watching it. But I completely forgot about that. So thank you for refreshing my memory. I won't forget it now. Because every time I talk to Troy about boxing, if he tells me a fact, I normally don't forget it. Yeah, man. Shout out to Sean. He said, respect to Sean, the real OG in the boxing community, the original LD. Yeah, he is. You got to give Sean his due. Sean's been here before I was even here. I've been here for a little bit, but Sean was here before me. And Sean has dedicated his lifetime to destroying the LDBC. And he has. He's been successful at it. So a tip of the cap goes to Sean Newton out there in Taiwan. But listen, on that note, look, guys. On that note, I've said what I needed to say. I don't want to make this a drawn out long live. I'm gonna get out of here, but I'll be live again tomorrow. We'll talk about Virgil Ortiz and Kavaluskas, and we'll talk about that fight because people aren't talking about Virgil Ortiz. He deserves to be talked about. He brings the excitement every time he comes to the ring, and he's on the cusp of doing some great things in the welterweight division. So definitely be talking about that. With that being said, you guys take care. God bless you guys. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just kidding, Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.